Hello, sir. Uh, Sir, before start the session, give the instruction of all participants. All participants here inform that those who are registered of STTP but not a payment request make a payment first. Thank you, sir. Now you can start, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, one and all present here. Today we are going to start our workshop, uh, Android application development. This is a 5 days workshop. These are the objectives of this workshop. The first one is to understand the basics of Android platform. Second one, to study about Android architecture and the tools for developing Android applications. Third one is to learn about how to install and configure Android application development tools. Fourth one, to get the better understanding of UI components, layout, and event. Last one, that to design and develop the user interface with the database-based Android application. So these are the objective of these 5 days workshop, which is based on Android application development. Okay. Now, this is 5 days objective. Today's objective is these two. That is, the first one, to understand the basics of this Android platform, and second one, to study about the Android architecture and the tools for the developing the Android application. So today we are going to see all the theoretical part of this Android and Android architecture. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to start with the installation and the configuration of this Android Studio. On the third day, we are going to see the all the UI components. Okay, those UI components, maybe the linear layout, then buttons, text fields, checkboxes, radio buttons. All these things we are going to cover in the third day. On the fourth day, again we are going to see the different menus. That is option menu, context menu, and pop-up menu. As well as we are going to see about the intents, okay, why we use the intents. And on the last day, we are going to cover our main point, that is database. Okay. So we'll start with today's objective, that is we must have to understand that what is the basics of Android platform and what is the purpose or what is actually Android application. Okay. So the first question arises that what is the Android? Actually, in the book they have given the two definitions. The first one is, it is a simple one, that is Android is nothing but the mobile operating system which is based on modified version of Linux. So this is one of the simple definition that we always find that Android is nothing but the operating system and it is a modified version of the Linux. Okay? So whatever the kernel we use for this Android, it is Linux kernel. Okay, this is the first definition. Second one is, we can say Android is nothing but the mobile platform, okay, and which contains the main three parts. The first one is operating system, second one is the middleware, and third one is the key applications. You will understand the main difference between these two, that is whether the mobile this Android is a mobile operating system or it is a mobile platform. With the help of the architecture, at the time of architecture, I will tell you, I will explain you what is the difference between these two. Okay, but just remember that we can use this Android as a mobile platform which consists of these three main parts. Okay, and you already know what is the purpose of the operating system. Just I want to give one of the example. Whenever here, electronic device, it actually contains the two main components. The first one is software component and second one is hardware components. And the main purpose of that device is to make a communication between the software and the hardware. Okay, so that we need one of the middle layer, and that middle layer is nothing but this operating system. Okay, so we can say that operating system actually the abstraction between uh, software component and the hardware component. Okay, so in short, we can say that Android is nothing but one of the comprehensive open source platform which is based on the Linux and supported by the Google. Because even to this Android is actually developed in the 2005, which is actually developed by one of the startup company with the same name, that is Android. But after that one, the Google has purchased this Android. Okay, but Google wanted to uh, provide the code which is required for this Android to everyone. That's why they have uh, made this Google Android code to everyone under the open source Apache license. What it means? It is open and free. It means that whatever the code is available for this Android, you can take that one, you can modify in your own way, and you can assign your own name to that. Just like in case of the Linux operating systems code is available to everyone. It's a free and open source. So you can take the code of that basic Linux kernel and you can modify that code and you can give the name to that. That's why we have the number of flavors of the Linux. We call it is a Fedora, we can call it Saint OS, Kali Linux is also present. All these are nothing but the modified versions of the Linux. Okay. That's why the Google has made the Android code available to everyone. Okay. In short, just I want to tell you which are the different versions of this Android. It actually starts from the cupcake with the number as 1.5 version. Then it is 1.6 with donut. In that way, they have developed a number of versions of this Android. Nowadays, we are actually working with this Android 10. Okay, the latest version of the Android version is uh, 11. Okay, latest version of this Android is 11. Okay, now next point, that is which are the features of the Android, is that this operating system, this Android supports to which are the features. The first one is it actually support for the storage. Okay, the Android operating system actually comes with the one of the lightweight relational database management, which is named as SQLite. Okay, we do not require to install it separately. It actually comes with that SQLite database. Okay, it means that it actually support for the relational database, as well as it actually support the SD card slot with the expandable storage. Okay. Next feature of this Android is the connectivity, just like GSM, that is global system for mobile communication. Second one is IDEN, that is integrated digital enhanced network. Then CDMA, that is port division multiple access. Then we have the EDDU, that is evolution data optimized. We have the UMTS, that is universal mobile telecommunication system. Then we have the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. Nowadays we are using this VoLTE, that is voice for LTE and WiMAX. Okay, so this Android actually supports all the kinds of connectivities. Okay, one of the best feature of this Android is that near field communication. You may be seeing that advertisement, that is we actually hold our card in front of that electronic device. Okay, and it will take the payment, or it actually do the payment. Okay, same way When we hold our mobile in front of that electronic device, then we can do the payment. It, it means that it actually supports near field communication. That's why they have given the name, that is near field communication, because its range is so less. Okay, so these are the first two features. Next one, it supports for the messaging, that is for the SMS as well as for the MMS. One of the latest feature is that multiple language support. Android supports multiple languages in its operating system, and one can change the language very easily based on one's requirement. This feature we have seen in case of the WhatsApp also. You can type your message in the Marathi or in your own language or in the English also. Okay. Then area support, it actually contains, it includes the number of areas. That is, it actually supports 3GP, then MP4, MP3, then MIDI, then waves, JPEG, PNG, GIF, and BM. So this is also one of the feature of the Android. Then it actually support for the hardware also. That if suppose you have the sensors in your mobile, then actually it support different types of the hardware. That is camera as well as digital compass, then proximity sensor as well as the GPS. Okay, global positioning system. It also support for the multi-touch screen. The multitasking is also possible. That is one of the best examples that in the background your music player is present and in front you are doing the chatting. So it actually support for the multitasking also. Tethering, this is also one of the important feature. It actually sharing of the internet connection as a wired and wireless hotspot. Just you have to start your internet connection in your mobile and you can start the hotspot so that other can use your internet. Okay.
सरांना एक
This is
मिनिट
called as
सर
tethering.
ऐकू गेलं काय सरांना
Now, before we go for the architecture, is there any query related to this one? Any doubt? Because this is a simple introductory part of this Android. That we have seen about the what is the definition of the Android and the basics of this Android. Okay, this is a simple part. Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ranjit, sir. Okay, next point, that is the architecture of the Android. It is actually divided into the 5 sections, but there are only 4 main layers are present. Okay. In the definition, we have already seen that Android is nothing but the operating system, which is one of the modified version of the Linux. Okay. That's why the first layer is this Linux kernel. Linux kernel. And just check out what it contains. It contains all the drivers. Okay. So first of all, we'll see this all the layers. The Android architecture is categorized in 5 sections. The first one is Linux kernel. Second one is the native libraries, which are actually called as middleware. Next one is Android runtime. Fourth one is application framework, and fifth one is the actual applications. Okay. So we'll start with the first layer, that is a Linux kernel. Now, Linux kernel, it is nothing but, or which is actually responsible for the different types of the management. Okay. It is just like the operating system. Whatever the features of the operating system, the same features of this Linux kernel. Or most of the times we actually read that Linux kernel is actually nothing but the operating system. So these are the management applications of the Linux kernel. The first one is memory management, second one is the resource management, third one is device management, and fourth one is the power management. Now, what is the meaning of this memory management? Suppose I have created one of the file. So you must have to allocate the memory for that file. Suppose you have created one of the PPT. So we need one of the responsible component which actually assign the memory for that file, and that component is nothing but the operating system. Okay. Second one is the resource management. Resource, just I want to give one of the examples. Suppose there are three processes are running simultaneously, and they want to access the database. Okay. Suppose they want to store their data inside the database. Okay, so we must need synchronization between these three processes. That one of the process is accessing one of the table into that database, and you want to write something there at that time. Second must have to wait there, or otherwise, if suppose the second process is want to store the data in the different table, then that table must be get allocated to that second process. So both the processes are actually working on the different tables. So we need the synchronization between these two, and this synchronization is actually done by that operating system. That's why they are called as a resource management. Okay, resource management means at a time we can perform the multiple operations. We can type the text document as well as we can browse the internet, or we can play an audio files. Okay, so that for the audio file we must have to use the different resources. For the typing the text document, we use the different resource, or as well as if suppose you are using the browser, at that time also we require some different resources. So this resource management is actually done by this Linux operating system. Okay. Next one is device management. You already know that we connect the multiple peripheral devices, just like printer, scanner. Okay. So uh, we must have to make a communication between our software component and the hardware component, and this is actually done by the operating system. If suppose I want to take a printout from the printer, then you must have to make a synchronization between these two. That printer software, which normally called it is the drivers, okay, device drivers. Okay. Next one is power management. The power management, it actually allows the user to control the amount of electrical power consumed by the underlying devices, as well as it is used to implement the most efficient power mode. Suppose you have not used your monitor for a specific period of time, we normally call it in case of the web. Diagram. It contains the drivers, display driver, the camera drivers, and the keyboard drivers. But the question arises that what is the purpose of these drivers? What is the purpose of these drivers? Can you tell me that what is the purpose of these drivers, device drivers? The main purpose of this device driver is to make a connection between your hardware and your operating system and your software actually. For example, suppose I have connected one of the speaker, or suppose any other hardware. We will consider the speaker one. Now, the operating system doesn't know the language of that speaker, because each and everything which is stored in the operating system in the memory, it is binary one, and binary language, it is not known by the speaker. So how to make a communication between these two? You understand that binary language is not known by the speaker, and speaker's language is not known by the operating system. Then who will make the communication between these two? It is done by the device driver. Driver is actually responsible to make the connection between that hardware part and the operating system. Okay. So this layer contains all low-level device drivers for the various hardware components of an Android device. Okay. So this is the first part which we have completed from this is the first layer. Now the second layer, that is libraries. You already know that what is the purpose of the libraries. If you have already gone through the Java language, you can already know that what is the purpose of these libraries. The second layer actually contains the two main parts. The first one is the libraries, and second one is the Android runtime. Okay. Now here you will see one of the language, that is C and C++. Just I want to give the example. Suppose I'm developing one of the application, one of the app by using the Java. Okay. Even if I go with the Java language, then it is not possible to create low-level media components interaction. Okay. For that one, I must have to go with a different language, that is called C or C++. How many of you know this one? I don't know. That is, all the drivers are actually written in the C and C++. Even though most of the part of the Linux operating system is actually written in the C language. Okay. This is just only because of the drivers communication. So if you want to access the any hardware through the drivers, we always use the low level programming language, that is C and C++. That's why we required the libraries actually which are actually written into the C and C++. Okay, and these are the open source libraries. So the Android component is built using the native code, and it requires the native libraries. Okay. Suppose I want to build one of the application which is database oriented. So in that case, I must have to use the SQLite library. Now, what this SQLite library provides me? It provides the database support so that an application can use it for the data storage. So whatever the library I require to make a connection between my app and the SQLite database, all the ready-made components actually I get through this SQLite library. Another library which is important for the web browsing, that is a WebKit library. So if you want to build one of the applications who is going to support for web browsing or web applications, you must have to use this WebKit libraries. It is not required to write each and every code from the scratch. That is the thing we actually do in case of the Python. All the things are already present. Okay. Now, next part, we have seen about these libraries only. Still, we have not seen the second part of this layer, that is Android runtime. But before we go for this Android runtime, that is called ARD, we must have to find out which are the limitations of the mobile devices. Okay. The first limitation of the mobile device is it always contains low memory. Nowadays we actually get the more memory, but in the older days we actually do not get the more memory. So this is actually one of the limitation of the mobile device. That is, it actually having the low memory. Second one, battery life. This is the second limitation of this mobile device. And third one, we actually get the less efficient CPU power. Okay. So these are the limitations of the mobile devices. Now the question is that why we go for the limitations of these mobile devices? This is just only because just I want to tell you why we go for this limitation of the mobile device. First of all, I want to tell you one thing that is, whenever we want to create one of the apps, because I want to create an app, okay. Suppose I want to create one of the app, okay. This is the app. So it always use two languages. The first one is Java, and second one is XML. So if you want to build one of the app, you must have to use of these two. You must have to use these two languages. First one is Java and second one is the XML. Now you already know, if you want to run this Java application, Java code or Java program, you must need one of the virtual machine that is called JVM. JVM. Okay. Now, if you want to go for the JVM, then you must need the proper configuration of the device. Proper, it means that you must need the uh, 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 memory, then you must need the CPU power, or in short, we can say that if you want to develop any application using the Java, then you must need the proper configuration of that device. Okay. Java by default, which is actually output of this JVM, it is suitable for the heavyweight applications, just like the PCs. Okay. But in case of the mobile, we don't have that much power capacity. We don't have that much memory capacity. Okay. Or even though if you check your mobile, we do not have that much RAM. Okay. So we need the lightweight format than this Java byte, and that's why we go for the this one, Dalvik virtual machine. You understand why we go for this Dalvik virtual machine? It is just because we do not have the proper configuration. We have some limitations on the mobile device. Okay. Is it clear that why we go for the Dalvik virtual machine? This Dalvik virtual machine, it is a specialized virtual. That's why it's called as a specialized virtual machine.
ऍड करून पहिला रजिस्ट्रेशन करा की सर रजिस्ट्रेशन करा की पेमेंट आहे होय सर
It's a specialized virtual machine. It is designed specifically for the Android and optimized for the battery powered mobile devices. Okay, with the limited memory and the you can enables the every Android application to run its own processing, as well as Android applications are compiled into the Dalvik executable. Okay, I will choose the diagram for that. But just understand that because we do not have that much powerful device, we must have to go for another virtual machine that its name is Dalvik virtual machine. Okay. Another component is the runtime section, that is the core library. This core libraries actually enables us to implement Android application using the standard Java and Kotlin programming language. Whatever the libraries we required for this Java language are all are actually present inside this section, that is core library. Okay. Understand. Suppose this is my Java source, which is get compiled by using the JVM. If I put this one as an input for this JVM, then it actually creates dot class file. Okay, and dot class file that actually contains the JVM code instruction that is actually called as a bytecode. Okay, so this is the dot Java file which is sent as the input for the JVM, and JVM actually gives the dot class file. But if I want to run this dot class file, then I need one of the powerful devices. Okay, so they have made changes into the compilation of your execution of that Android app into two parts. First one is because you have already developed or you have used the Java language for the development of this app, you must have the same virtual machine. You must have to compile your Java code to this JVM. After compilation, you actually create class file, okay, which actually contain the bytecode. Now I'm going to apply this dot class file or the bytecode to this DVM that is called Dalvik virtual machine. Now here actually it converts this dot class file into the dot .dx file. Now dx means what? Dalvik executable. Okay, dx file, and this is so much lightweight. So every small device can execute this .exe file, dx file. Okay, Dalvik executable file. Okay, that's what we actually have this one. It's Android runtime, which actually contains the Dalvik virtual machine. Okay. Now next part is that API, that is the application framework. Okay, now just check out what it actually contains. It actually contains the activity manager, window manager, content provider, then view system, then package manager, telephony manager. Okay, these are nothing but the API. Maybe know about the API. This is the application programming interface, which actually contain all the ready-made classes or ready-made functionalities, functions. Just like in case of the networking, we use the socket programming, socket API, okay, which actually helps you to connect your application with the network. So you can send your data from one machine to another machine. Okay. So the same way, here the various modules are actually present, already present in this application framework. Okay. Application framework layer provides the many higher level services to the application in the form of Java classes. The API is actually written in Java language. Now, for example, the content provider. This is one of the application framework which actually allows you for your application to publish or share the data with the other application. Suppose you want to build one of the application which is going to take the data from the other applications. Okay. But you may see that one of the application never allow you to share your data with the other one. So we must need one of the middle layer, and that middle layer is nothing but this content provider. That's why they have said that it is actually used for the sharing of the data between the different applications. Second one, the resource manager. It actually provides the access to the non-code resource such as the localized screens, graphics, and the layout files. Okay. Now the question is, what is the meaning of this non-code resources? Non-code, its meaning is that without writing a single code, I want to do or I want to run one of the applications without writing a single code, and this is possible. And this is possible in case of the Android also. If you change the UI, that is whatever the code we write into the XML file, UI development, in that case we just have to drag and drop. Drag and drop. That's why the second name for this non-code, that is the drag and drop. Just you have to take one resource from that palette. That is suppose my one of the resources is button. Just simply I am going to drag that button and I am going to drop it. When you drag and drop, backside of that one, there is one XML file is present where you will get the ready-made code of that button. This one you have seen many times. Right? When you drag and drop any component, its code is generated at the background. You have to modify that according to your requirements. Okay, that's why it is actually called as non-code resources. Now, these resources are nothing but the strings, graphics, layout files. These layout files are nothing but the .xml files. Okay, so these ready-made APIs are already present at the third layer that is called as application framework. Okay. Now, this is the last layer of the application Android architecture. That is the application. Okay. Just check out that because the applications are present. These are the core applications, just like home, then contacts, then phone, then browser. These are the core libraries. Whenever you get this Android mobile at that time, you will find all these applications already present in your mobile. That is contact, phone, browser, then the home. Okay. So these are the core applications which are already present in the Android mobile. So this is the top layer of Android architecture. See, these are the core applications. These are actually pre-installed applications just like email, phone, contact, camera, gallery. Runs within the Android runtime with the help of the classes and the services provided by the application framework. Okay. Most interesting part of this application is this one. The system app function both as app for the user as well as to provide the key capabilities that developer can access for their own app. Just check out what is the meaning of this statement. The system act both as apps for the user, just like the camera. Just check out the camera. Camera actually act as a camera for the user. Simple one. But camera actually act as a, to take a picture for the user. Okay, means user's perspective. This is the application. This is one of the app, and its purpose is to take a photo. But developer's point of view, this is just as an app. This is just as one of the core you can use for its own application. What is the best example for this? The best example. Here they have given the example. Suppose I want to deliver. Suppose I want to create one of the application whose main functionality is to send the SMS message. So what we have to do? We can do the two things. The first one, we must have to write the code from scratch for the SMS message for the messaging purpose. What is the first step? The first um, step that is we must have to write all the code which is actually used for the SMS. The second one that you must have to use ready-made SMS app which is already available in your mobile, which is already installed. Okay, just you have to use that one in your application. So it is not required to write a single line for that. Okay, that's why they have given this statement. It actually acts as app for the user, but it is actually act as one of the application for the developer that can be used that app in its own app. Okay, so this is possible. Okay, so this is the last layer, which is the top layer of this Android architecture. So just check out what we have seen. We have seen the 5 sections in these 4 main layers. The first one is Linux kernel, which actually contains all the management applications, management functionalities, as well as it actually contains all the drivers. And we have seen that what is the purpose of the drivers. Drivers actually makes the connection between operating system and the peripheral devices. Second one, the libraries, which is actually written into the C or C++ languages, and these are actually used in case of development of the applications. Okay. The second layer again contains the second section, that is core libraries and Dalvik virtual machine. That we have seen why we go for the Dalvik virtual machine. Third layer is the application framework, which is actually written into the Java language and which actually helps to the developer. Okay. So just another example. Suppose I want to create one of the application which is going to use the which is actually used for the calling purpose. So same thing. I'm not going to write the code from scratch for the telephony application. I'm going to use this Java APIs, which is actually written for this telephony manager, which is actually used for the calling purpose. So those classes or those libraries, those functions or those methods I'm going to use, which is already presented. Ready-made, all the things are presented. So why it is required to write from the scratch? Just use that, just create the object of that class and use the applications or use the methods from that. Okay, that's why we use this application framework. And last one, all the core applications, okay, which is already pre-installed into the Android. Okay. Now, the second definition, what we have seen, that is Android is nothing but the mobile platform which actually contains the 3 main components. The first one is operating system. This is the operating system, Linux kernel. Second one, middle layer. These are the middle layers. And third one is applications. Okay. That's why they have written this definition. That is, Android is nothing but a mobile platform which contains the 3 main components: operating system, the middle layer, and third one is the applications. Okay, core applications. Okay. The one part which we are going to cover today, that is API. You already know that application program interface, which actually contains a set of routines, protocols, and tools for the building the software applications. Now, in case of the Android, or in case of Android Studio, we use one of the term that is called as a API layer. So, what is the API layer? API is nothing but the one of the integer value which uniquely identifies the framework API integer, which is offered by the version of the Android platform. Okay. In short, we can say this is the API level is basically the Android version. For example, suppose one of the API that is 1.4. Suppose this is the Android version. For that API level is 1. Okay. Suppose there is another version that is called 4.4. Its API level is 19. API level is 19. Now the question arises that why we require this API level. Okay, this API level actually allows you to develop one of the application with the minimum version. For example, suppose I want to create one of the calendar, and that calendar I am going to develop under the API level of 14. Okay? That is for the Android version 4. It means that that calendar application will be run on Android 4.0 and above to that, above versions. Okay, that's why we require the API label. API label actually gives you all the APIs, all the protocols and rules which actually work on the Android version 4 and above to that. Okay, it means that whatever the application I'm going to create with the help of this API level 14, it will not work on the Android 2.0 or 3.5. It is not going to work on that. It will work on Android 4.0, this version or above to that. Okay, that's why this API level is also important. At the time of developing any app, you will find that choosing. Okay, just take out next one line. Choosing a lower API level may support more devices. For example, suppose I have chosen there is a level 1 API 1.0 level 1. What it means? It means that that application actually works on all the devices, all the devices. But it actually gain the less functionality for your app, because in case of the API level 1 we do not have that many functionalities. For example, just I want to give one simple example. If suppose I'm going to develop one of the application which I can support for the camera, if I use API level 1, and it is not possible actually, API 1, API that is Android 1.0 actually uses this their camera, because at that time we do not had cameras. So it, which API level you are going to choose at the time of developing the application. Okay? Now, which are the different components are present into the Android? There are components are present. The first one is activity. Now, the activity is nothing but the single screen which is present on your mobile, single screen. So, the definition of the activity is that single screen which is present on the screen. Okay, it is a single screen of the user interface. Okay. For example, email application might have one activity that shows list of the new emails, another activity to compose the email, or another activity which actually used for the reading emails. So these each and every functionality actually contains a separate screen. Okay, separate screen for composing email, separate screen for the reading the emails, separate screen for the list of the new emails. So these all are nothing but the different activities. Okay. Second one is the services. Okay. Service is one of the components that run in the background, perform the long running operations. Just like I want to download one of the application from the internet. Okay, in this case you do not require any users interaction. Okay, you just have to click on the download and you can do your own work. Okay. At the background, one of the processes is running. That process is nothing but the service. This is the simple meaning of this service. Now, broadcast receiver is simply respond to the broadcast the messages from the other application or from the system. For example, stop playing. Suppose there is one music player is already running, and if I remove the headphone, then it automatically gets stopped. This is just only because one of the event is get occur, that is headphone is get removed, and when the headphone is get removed, one of the broadcast message is one of the messages get broadcasted by the system, and that is nothing but to stop the play, stop the music there. Okay, and this is actually done by the system, but you must need one of the component who is going to receive that broadcasted message, and you must have to apply that one into the application. Okay, just telephone is get removed, the messages get broadcasted by the system. Music players broadcast receiver receives that message and it will stop the music. Simple. Okay. Last one that we have already seen, that is a content provider. It is a component supplies the data from the one application to the other application on request. A content provider behaves like a database where you can query it, edit its content, or as well as you can add or delete the content. So this content provider is one of the main component, okay, of the Android. Now, so this is all about the basics of the Android. Tomorrow we are going to start the installation of the Android applications, our development applications. Okay, and for that one, we actually required the different software. The first software is that latest version of the JDK. You can take the latest version. Second one, Android SDK. Third one, Android Studio. Okay. So these three components you must have to download first, and then we can go for the installation of the Android Studio or installation of the different tools. Okay. Now, how to obtain these required tools? Second, the first requirement is my latest version of the JDK. You can take that JDK from this website, that is www.oracle.com. You just copy this one and paste into the address bar of the browser. You will get the one of the page where you will get the latest version of the JDK. Okay. And second requirement is that Android Studio. You just copy this one. You will get the Android Studio from the developer.android.com. You will get that application, that software. Okay. So this is the today's task that you just copy these links and download the applications which are actually required to install the different tools for the Android. Okay, and Android SDK at the time of installing this Android Studio, automatically it download the Android SDK. Okay, that's it. Uh, we have covered today's objective. That is, we have seen about the basics of the Android platform. Then we have also studied about this Android architecture and the tools for the developing the Android application. Now, tomorrow we are going to see that how to install and configure the Android application development tool. Tomorrow I am going to install the Android Studio on the Windows platform as well as on the Linux or on the Ubuntu platform. Okay? Both the installations we are going to see tomorrow. Okay. If you have any doubt related to this basics of the Android platform or the architecture, please let me know. Any doubt? Okay, Rajeshwari ma'am.
Yes, sir. Uh,
So whether we have to take the today's attendance or whether you are going to provide the feedback form.
feedback from फॉर्म दिलेला आहे सर.
Okay, no problem.
ठीक आहे.
ठीक आहे.
field attendance and feedback form. All the participants fill the feedback form and attendance sheet, then log out. Hello. होय होय त्यांची त्यांनी करतील आणि बाहेर पडतील की. तसं सांगितलं मी आता मगच लवकर 10ला करूया की सर. हा हा हो हो छान झालं सेशन. झालं झालं. होय होय होय. नाही नाही समजलं समजलं समजलं. आता उद्या हे ना आपलं लाईव्ह हे ठीक. हां हो हां हां चालते की. हां हां होय 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 फॉर्मल फॉर्मली होय. आणि अवेलेबल पण असेल नसेल कोण कुठून जॉईन होते आणि फिरतात असं. होय होय तरी पण दाखवायचं तसं आपण दाखवूया. हां हां चल चालते चालते सर. हां मी कॉल करेन आणि लिंक वगैरे सकाळी पाठवेनच. हां ठीक आहे. हां लिंक दिल्यात बघा. सुद्धा तरी आहे काय. लिंक देऊन ठेवल्या सुद्धा तरी आहे काय म्हणलं त्यांना. फीडबॅकची दिल्या सर बाहेर पडले. संपलं. जेवायला